Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you how to build a quick, easy, and cheap DIY hay feeder. This is a 250-gallon IBC tote. You can pick these up on Facebook Marketplace. In my area, they're around $40 to $50 depending on the condition. And right now I'm just going to take off the two upper straps that are holding the plastic liner in place. There's 2 screws in each strap on each side. I'm just going to remove those so that I can get the liner out of the frame so that I can make the alterations that we need to make to be able to make the hay feeder. But nothing's going to waste here. We're going to use these again once we get them off. So I'm going to put them to the side for right now, and we'll come back to those a little bit later. So I'm just going to finish up with these screws. This can be done with very simple tools. I'm using an impact driver. You can use a cordless drill, with a rod angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and a circular saw. So I'm pulling these out, going to save those for later, and I'm going to get the inner liner out so that we can make some changes to the frame. So now I'm just going to tip this over and get that plastic liner out so that we can make some changes to the frame to turn it into that hay feeder. So what I'm doing with a cutoff wheel is I'm cutting all the corners out except for the very top row of horizontal bars. And then I'm going to come along and cut along the bottom of the 2 sides so that I can later bend those in to form the V that will hold the hay. So you see here, I'm just bending the sides in to form a V. It does take a little bit of effort to get these. The best way to do it, I found, is to put your knee in it. It helps to have a second person kind of hold the other side back because one side gets in the way as you're trying to bend the other. So I'm going to get my wife out of here, as you can see. She's going to help me get it finally bent in where it needs to be. And now I'm just going to be securing these together right now with duct tape, but I would really recommend using some baling wire. Now come the 2 straps. We're putting on back on just the way they came off. And the reason for that is, number one, it's going to add some extra bracing. But number 2, it's going to help to support the cover that we're going to add to it just a little bit later. I'm putting these back in pretty much the same way they came off, except in reverse order. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this liner and I'm going to cut the top and the bottom off. The top is going to be a pan for the bottom of the hay feeder to catch any hay that might fall out. And then the bottom we're going to use as a lid, as a roof, so to speak, for the top of the hay feeder to help keep the hay dry. I'm using a circular saw here. I did try to use a rod angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. It just seemed very slow. This circular saw made quick work of it. It only took a few minutes. So I'm cutting this one side off, and then I'm going to cut the other side. Once you cut one end off, it becomes very flimsy, and so you may need some help or use some boards to help support the other end while you cut the other end off. So now I'm cutting the bottom off of the tank, and you can see the top is going to be the pan to catch the hay that's falling off, and then that is going to be the lid to help keep the hay dry. Putting it out in the goat pasture now, and we're adding our bale of hay. It'll hold a bale of hay really well. Probably will hold up to maybe a bale and a half of standard size bales. It's very easy to build, very simple. Can be done with very simple tools. And our goats, as you can see here in just a minute, our goats are going to come out there and check it out. It took them a little time to get used to it, but they took to it pretty quickly, starting eating the hay right away.